Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really clean, formal, and kind of powerful way to write linear equations. It's called standard form. Now, if you're used to seeing equations where y is the star of the show, get ready for a totally new way of looking at it where x and y are on the same team. Let's get right into it. So take a look here. On the left, you've got a form that's probably super familiar, and it works, but that fraction, it just makes things look a little messy. Now, on the right, that is the exact same line just written in standard form. See how clean that is? No fractions, everything's lined up. That's the awesome transformation we're going to master today. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why this form is even a thing, then we'll get into the actual rules of the game. After that, we'll get our hands dirty with some real examples. I'll point out some common traps you'll want to avoid, and then we'll wrap up by seeing where this stuff actually pops up in the real world. So, you're probably asking yourself, hey, why do I need to learn a whole new way to write an equation I already know how to write? And that's a totally fair question. The answer, it's all about setting you up for success with what's coming next in algebra. Think of it this way. Instead of having y all by itself on one side, standard form basically puts your x and y variables on the same team, working together on the left side of the equation. It's a small change in how you see it, but it organizes things in a way that's incredibly useful. And here it is, the big reason why we're doing this now. This is a key building block for more advanced stuff down the road. When you get to solving systems of equations using what's called the elimination method, having your equations already in standard form makes the whole process so much easier. Seriously, your future self is going to thank you for this. Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Standard form has a very specific structure, and yeah, there are a few rules you have to follow, but once you know them, they're actually pretty simple. So here's the official definition. It's written as ax plus by equals c. Now, the most important part to lock in your brain is that a, b, and c, they all have to be integers. That means whole numbers, positive or negative. Absolutely no fractions, no decimals. That's a deal breaker. And to write it perfectly every time, you just have to follow these three golden rules. Rule number 1, a, which is the number right in front of the x, has got to be positive. Rule 2, like we just said, no fractions allowed anywhere. And rule 3, if a, b, and c all share a common factor, you have to simplify the whole equation by dividing by it. Okay, enough with the theory. Let's actually see how this works. We're going to take a couple of pretty standard-looking equations and walk through how to convert them into perfect standard form. Let's start with an easy one, y equals 2x plus 5. So first things first, we got to get x and y on the same team. To do that, we'll just subtract 2x from both sides. That gives us negative 2x plus y equals 5. Now, we're really close, but wait, we broke rule number 1. Our a value, that negative 2, is negative. The fix is super simple, though. Just multiply the entire equation by negative 1. That flips every single sign and gives us our beautiful final answer, 2x minus y equals negative 5. All right, let's level up. This one has a fraction. Y equals 2/3 x minus 4. The first step is exactly the same. Let's move that x term over to the left. So now we have negative 2/3 x plus y equals negative 4. That fraction. It's breaking rule number 2. To get rid of that denominator of 3, we just multiply times every single thing in the equation by 3. That gives us negative 2x plus 3y equals negative 12. We're almost there, just one last check, and yep, our a is negative again. So one final multiply by negative 1, and we get our perfect answer. 2x minus 3y equals 12. Now for a fun one. What about a simple horizontal line, like y equals 5? This might seem like a trick question, because it's already in standard form. You might be thinking, how? Well, since there's no x term, we can just say the a value is 0. You can think of it as 0x plus 1y equals 5. See? It fits the ax plus by equals c structure, and it follows all the rules. Pretty cool, right? Now, with any new math skill, there are always a couple of common little traps that are easy to fall into. So let's shine a spotlight on them right now so you can sidestep them completely. This one right here is by far the most common mistake. People do all the hard work. They move the terms, they clear the fractions, but then they stop right here at negative 2x plus 3y equals 12 and completely forget that rule number 1 says a has to be positive. You got to remember that final step, multiplying by negative 1 to flip every sign to get full credit. So here's your mental checklist. First, when you're multiplying to get rid of a fraction, Make sure you multiply times every single term. It's so easy to forget about that constant number on the other side of the equal sign. And second, always, always, always do one final check at the end to make sure your A value is positive. Okay, so where in the world would you actually use this? Well, it turns out that standard form is the most natural way to set up problems that involve things like budgets, or pretty much any situation where you have two items that add up to a fixed total. So let's imagine you've got a $50 budget for some merch. T-shirts, we'll call those X, are $10 each, and hats, Y, are $5 each. The equation that represents how much you can spend is 10x plus 5y equals 50. See how that just naturally fits into the ax plus by equals c format? No rearranging needed. And using this form makes it really easy to figure out different combinations of what you can buy. For example, you could get 5 t-shirts and 0 hats, or maybe 3 shirts and 4 hats. Or how about just 1 t-shirt and 8 hats? All of these combos add up to exactly $50, perfectly solving our equation. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. You now have two really powerful ways to write the equation of a line, slope-intercept form and standard form. The real next-level skill is knowing which tool is the right one for the job. So think about it. When would one form be way easier for graphing, and when would the other form, like our budget example, be the obvious choice? Thanks for watching.